Welcome back, beautiful people. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Now, up next, we have My Healthy Minutes, brought to you by Aikido Pharma. Aikido Pharma is an early stage drug development company dedicated to developing new solutions for life threatening diseases. They publicly trade on the NASDAQ under ticker symbol AIKI. And on that note, today we are featuring Leo Giel. He's a technology entrepreneur and the CEO of Kaya Now. Leo is an experienced team builder. Most recently, he built a startup from 3 to 285 employees in 17 countries, generating over 100 million as an annual rate of return in just 5 years. Now, one of Kaya's focus is on the development of the Hi There platform and app, where you will find a cannabis-friendly social network, and via the recently launched Continuum, the first compliant advertising marketplace built on premium publishers. Today, we are chatting all things cannabis. Now, Hi There is that very much needed virtual space for cannabis users and enthusiasts to connect and come together. It even once claimed to be the number one dating app in the cannabis industry, but since it's shifted away from its dating roots and is now more community focused. Its homepage is filled with educational articles about weed, smoking it, and the cannabis business in general. You can get started on the app with just your Facebook profile, and from there, you can find singles as well as friends and professional contacts. You can chat with others in groups, check out reviews, post photos, and even find local dispensaries. Hi There is often said to be the Tinder for weed smokers because it's pretty similar in mechanics. Be warned though, people on Hi There aren't necessarily there to look for dates. They're also there to meet other cannabis consumers for friendship and smoking buddies. They are a free app and free to download with no in app purchases. Welcome to the show, Leo. What an incredible concept.
Thanks, Zen. It's great to be here. We're big fans of the show. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Now, this site and app is absolutely amazing. From questions like how long does a weed high last, how to clean a vape pen, how long do edibles stay in your system, how does CBD work without THC, everything from how to buy weed online legally. You even have things on there like how to roll a joint, instructions for beginners, to meeting your soulmate. This is absolutely fantastic. What inspired this platform?
Well, we wanted to have, first of all, some fun. And we also wanted to destigmatize something that we believe is an important part of today's society. And we're seeing more and more folks become okay with cannabis, and we're seeing a real shift. So we wanted to create a safe place for folks to have discussions, to learn, and even have some simple tips on, if you're new to cannabis, how to use it, what to look for. We hired a team of doctors to help educate. If you're a grandmother that has joint pain, what should you look for when you're looking at CBDs to help with joint pain? So we just wanted to create a safe place to have discussions and learn about the cannabis space.
Those safe places are very hard to find online. Now, cannabis is one industry that's actually coming out of COVID even stronger, despite a global pandemic and discombobulated supply chains, ballooning inflation, and this ongoing fight to legalize marijuana on a federal level. The cannabis industry in America is flourishing. Sales hit 20 billion last year. They're on pace to top 26 billion this year and are projected to leapfrog to close to 46 billion by 2025. At this point, the majority of Americans live in a state where some form of cannabis is legal, and more than 2/3 of US states have legalized medicinal cannabis. Of those, 18 have legalized cannabis for recreational use. Now, you managed to combine technology and cannabis. Tell us how one feeds the other and how Hi There has the potential to revolutionize things.
Yeah, that's a great point, because that's one of the things I started to realize. There's this huge burgeoning industry. States are adopting and legalizing this wonderful drug, and unfortunately, you can't connect. And when me being a technology entrepreneur and an advertising technology executive, when I started to evaluate this space, I looked at these big brands, these big cannabis brands, and it was like taking a step back 30 years ago. They were connecting with their audiences through billboards, they even were one brand was hiring college students to hand out flyers on the corner in local towns. And I thought, this is crazy. And I dug a little deeper, and I realized Google will not allow you to advertise cannabis. Facebook does not allow you to advertise cannabis. Instagram, no. Snapchat, no. And I thought, wow, all these big tech companies aren't taking advantage of this great industry, and it's just in its infancy stages. So I went out and I built the best team from Silicon Valley, where I live, and we started to get to work on building a platform that would allow community members to feel comfortable. And you didn't have to just be there to date. You could be there to learn. A grandmother could be there for arthritis. My wife could be there to learn how to cook with cannabis. Someone could come for their child who has epilepsy, or their pet that is a little bit overactive, and everyone's welcome. We use machine learning and artificial intelligence to create an environment that's curated to your needs. And what we wanted to do is allow brands to come in and advertise to this community, because it is such a great industry and it's growing so fast. There needed to be a solution in place. So we brought big tech to cannabis.
Definitely revolutionary and proprietary. Now, you have also managed to not only connect with the masses, that's one thing, but you also launched Continuum. Now, that's the first cannabis advertising marketplace that enables brands to easily run these compliant ad campaigns with premium publishers. This is quite unique and proprietary. Tell me what inspired this.
Yeah, so if you think about it, Zen, Hi There is a direct-to-consumer business. It's very much like a Facebook. It's an app, it's a website, and it's a newsletter. And consumers can connect with that single source brand, but it's only one brand. And if you're familiar with what's happening in a digital world with privacy, you'll know that iOS launched iOS 14, which gets rid of your IDFA. Google eventually will do away with cookies. So in the digital world, the companies that own the data will win the game. So we wanted to create a way to amplify that proprietary first party data we're collecting from Hi There. So we feed that in Continuum. We build what's called lookalike models around data after we anonymize it. So we don't know who the consumer is, but we just know what they look like, what their tendencies are, the demographics of that consumer. And then we develop lookalike models on top of a programmatic platform, Continuum, and it allows us to prepare ourselves for the big brands when they come here, because they don't want to just reach a small, tiny audience. They want to reach a big, scalable audience. So by using that direct-to-consumer Hi There business and amplifying it through Continuum and plugging in other cannabis publishers, we create what we think will be the Google of the cannabis world, or ecosystem, I should say.
This is brilliant. It's probably the most organic marketing that brands can find, given, like you said, the scarcity of not having a platform to advertise in such an industry that's growing so fast and evolving. This makes so much sense, and I love the name Continuum. It's almost like a continuation of something. It's great. It's great. Now let's chat. Science meets the plant. Now, according to the Alcohol and Drug Foundation, there are about 120 different cannabinoids found in the cannabis plant, with the most commonly used being the Delta 9, otherwise what we know as THC. And then you have cannabidiol, or CBD. Now, CBD dominates as a treatment for different seizure disorders. Furthermore, cannabis has shown very promising results with its ability to kill cancer, and it's been shown to treat not just the symptoms of chemotherapy that most people think of, like vomiting or loss of appetite, but it actually treats the cancer symptoms themselves, and it has the potential to kill the cancer cells themselves. Now, for the skeptics, studies indicate no statistical association between cannabis smoking or use of incidence of lung cancer, head cancer, and neck cancer, though a lot are common concerns that circulate through these discussions. I think that the mainstreaming of medical cannabis is going to depend on a lot of state level industries' ability to develop products that appeal to consumers' health needs, and also whether or not companies are able to work with the government to enable further access. Can you speak to the investment side of the advances made here, because they're quite unique?
Yeah, well, I think you hit the nail on the head, right? You're seeing a tremendous interest in the medicine side of this industry. One of the things I did is I went out and I started talking to large pharmaceutical companies and large pharmaceutical agencies, and I thought at first they were going to laugh me out of the room. and quite the opposite, actually. A lot of these large pharma companies and some of these big media companies, they believe that cannabis is the next pharmaceutical drug. So we're seeing definitely a trend, a lot of investment in the space, and we're excited. And that's the other reason I went out and I built a team of doctors. And if I have it my way, one day in the future, when we're properly capitalized and the business is a little bit more mature, I'd like for our audience to be able to have access to 24/7 online medical advice and guidance around the cannabis industry. So this is something we want to become really a thought leader and a destination for this type of thinking.
Of course, and you have so many users, and a lot of the demographic that uses cannabis and cannabis-related products and derivatives are uh, Gen Z, millennials, but now we're seeing baby boomers. We're seeing it being treated in the PTSD side, for anxiety, for many, many different things. But like you said, having that platform that you can kind of like a WebMD for specifically this area is it is the next level of where cannabis is headed. Now, there's another thing that's lurking out there. Cannabis and crypto may be natural bedfellows, so to speak. Cryptocurrency and cannabis businesses have a lot in common. Both are entering the mainstream after years of operating on the fringes, and the two industries may be able to help each other. If cannabis companies embrace digital payments and engage with the issues created by these alternate systems, they may pave the way for other businesses to do the same. And crypto may help the cannabis industry to access the financial services it needs and become less reliant on cash. What do you say to this?
100%. I've had many conversations and even evaluated a few platforms because the challenge in the cannabis space, and I can tell you, I'm a victim of it myself, and I don't even sell cannabis products. I'm just a platform to bring the world together. I'm trying to connect every cannabis consumer in the world together through our D2C and B2B business. And I've had a bank account frozen because who knows why, but banks are all over this industry. And if you can use cryptocurrency to do transactions to avoid some of the limitations around the banking regulations and waiting for the banking industry to catch up, I think there's a tremendous opportunity. So I think that's a great idea. And I think you're going to see a lot more folks jump in to use crypto to complete the transaction process of the cannabis side of the business. So I'm excited to see where that goes, and I'm also entertaining conversations to help close the gap there.
I love it. I love it. Everything is coming full circle. Cryptocurrency, cannabis, all on my platform. Well, Leo, thank you so much for joining us. We're out of time, but I'd love to have you on again and chat more cannabis.
My pleasure, Zen. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for your time.
Absolutely, you guys. You have to check them out. KayaNow.com, HiThere.com. And on the gram, you could find at HiThere app. And check out Leo. Leo Giel's also on the gram at Leo Giel, Giel. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. We'll be right back after this.